Hi, I'm Elena Kent. I am an actor, writer, director, producer, teacher, mom, wife, friend.
Do it all.
It's all included, and the mom, wife, friend informs all the other things that I do. So important titles. I started in film specifically in my 20s. Had been on stage all the years before that. So in my 20s, I went to a conservatory in Dallas, Texas, and a teacher said, "You need an agent." So she got me hooked up with a wonderful agent, the Mary Collins agency, who took a chance on me because I had no film experience. But when you're in your 20s, that's not unusual. So got into commercial acting, did a lot. That was back in the day before any kind of cell phones or anything that we could self-tape. So everything was in person. We didn't have Google Maps. So you would drive with a Maps Go, turn the pages, pull over into gas stations, ask for directions, get lost. I mean, it was a huge, one audition in a day would take you 4 or 5 hours because of the distance, DFW. So it was a learning experience going and all over Dallas for auditions. But I did get to audition for some films, didn't book any films, but I did land one episodic Walker, Texas Ranger when I was 28 or 29 years old. And that was my first experience on a professional SAG set, SAG-AFTRA, and I got qualified for a SAG-AFTRA card because of that. I had speaking lines. I was what they would call a co-star now. Back in the day, it was a guest star, but now they've tightened the reins on what they call co-star, guest star. Co-stars are paid less. So we call them, if you just have, I was in 2 scenes, which back then was called a guest star. It was a better rate. Nowadays, they've gotten really tight on that, but everybody that works in episodics usually starts out as a co-star. So that was a big launch for me, and I really loved it. But by that time, I was married with a child, and right after that aired, I found out I was pregnant with number 2, the second child. So in the way I was raised, having a mother at home and very family-centered, I didn't think I could be on camera working in the film industry and be the kind of mom I wanted to be. So my husband and I packed up our 2 kids and we moved eventually back to San Angelo to be with family. And I did theater for 20 years and was really involved in Angelo Civic Theater, then started my own theater, B Theater, at the Performing Arts Center. So very theater centered for 20 years. And when I moved, I'm now in Austin. But when I moved back to Austin, it was with the intention of doing more theater and possibly getting an agent to do commercials, because that's mostly what I did in my 20s was commercial work. So came back to Austin, met a friend that used to be in theater back in San Angelo, Sarah Marie Curry, and I didn't meet her. I met up with her and was like, what do I do if I want to be an actor in Austin? Where should I go? So she led me to an acting school, and that is where I fell in love with the idea of film or being on camera. I started working in class, and scenes on camera were from episodic television and films that were relevant and happening now. And it kind of piqued my curiosity for that kind of thing. So I started auditioning, self-submits, what we call them. It's submitting without an agent. So self-submitting to film that was found on Backstage or Actors Access. And I got booked in 2 feature films back to back on my own when I didn't even have an agent.
First 2 submissions.
First 2. Never done a short film, never done anything. I did a Christmas film. Actually, also did a student thesis film that was a full feature. Then I did Christmas film. Then I did Lifetime. I booked a Lifetime television, pretty big part.
Yeah.
And shortly after that, really got going with an agent. But being on a feature film set with no experience at all was the best teaching experience. Best way to learn. It taught me a lot. I asked a lot of questions. They were independent. Lifetime even is Lifetime Network's not independent, but it's a non-union set, so it's not SAG-AFTRA. So it's a little looser as far as like rules and that kind of thing. So it's easier to say, hey, can I stand here and watch? And ask a lot of questions, and it's not so tightly, guarded. Yeah. So it was a good learning environment for me. But the independent Christmas film was the best because it's a family-run company, and I just devoured everything. I was like, wow, this is cool. So I came out of those 3 features that I did and didn't book any more features. So that I realized you don't just run around booking feature films all the time. That's not normal. And so I thought it was just so easy, but it wasn't. It's not easy. It's hard. I just happened to hit 3 in a row. That was never happened to me again. To this day, I haven't booked 3 feature films in a row. So, but what I did is I started working in short film, which is easy to get into because everyone says yes when are you doing a film? Can I help you? Is there anything you need? Everybody's very friendly, very open. I did try to get back into theater in Austin, but I got a lot of no's very quickly, and I just got discouraged because film was easier. It was easier to get involved. It was easier to learn. It wasn't so closed, and it's a different medium, and it doesn't just run for a month or 2 and then it's over. It's a long, long process. And classes, when you take classes, they're 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, and you get very close to other students. So I did a short film in 2023, met these 2 producers. They were incredible, phenomenal. It's Pink Mud Productions, Katie and Jenny. And I was in the film as an actor, but I had an idea. I had a story in my head of something I would like to do. I was like, these are cool. Short films are so inspiring because they're just long enough to get you wrapped up into a story and they're over. But it leaves you thinking and it leaves you wanting more and they can be, emotional, make you think about in a relationship you've had. They can be therapeutic, just make you feel good and laugh. They can be super creative and out there where you're not sure what's going on, but it made you think. So it's like, I want to do that. It's like, to me, it's like theater. It's like putting up a show and getting to do all the creative. Because at B Theater, I did props, costumes. I didn't do technical. I didn't do lighting and sound, but I did everything else. I directed. I acted. So I was like, oh, I can do this. I can do this. So I asked these 2 girls that I'd worked for that were producers. I said, I have an idea. I have a script. I actually had it written. I didn't go to them and say, I have an idea. I went to them and said, I have a script. And they were like, let's read it. So we met in a coffee shop and we read it out loud. We table read. They said, we would love to help you with this. They're new. They're brand new into production. I think I was their second. The first one was theirs.
Okay.
I was their second one to produce. So without them, my film, GoodWill, that we actually filmed, that is wrapping post-production now, wouldn't have happened if these 2 girls, they're young too, like 30, between 28 and 32. It's like they're so young and hungry and knowledgeable. And if they don't know, they will find someone who does. Yeah. So I didn't know what I was doing. All I had was the script, and I've directed theater, and I can produce theater with my eyes closed, but I had no idea what I was doing with the film. So my advice for a new filmmaker is to find someone who knows. Because if you find someone who knows how to make a film and they need something that they don't know, they're going to go find someone that knows that part of filmmaking. It's just resource. And anything can be done. You just have to ask questions and know that it's okay to not know. And it's fun to meet people that do know. And so that's what my producers were there for me. These were not producers that had money. Most short film making producers don't have money. And I think that's the misnomer, is when you go and you watch Superman and the executive producers pop up. Those are your money people. But in short film, most of the time the producers are the people who were grinding it out, finding resources, finding the filmmaker, finding the cinematographer, finding the gaffer, the key grip, the sound, the color. But I was responsible for fundraising. They were supporting me foundationally, getting the word out, sharing my Instagrams, talking me through it, because it was 30 days on Seed and Spark of lots of tears because I was worried we weren't going to fund it. They were my cheerleaders. They were like, it is going to happen. Here's how you're going to do it. You need to get up tomorrow morning. You need to make 10 Instagram posts, schedule them. They were telling me what to do. But it wasn't this. It was teaching me how to do it, supporting me, and cheering me on. That's what a good producer for a short film does. Now, there are production houses. There are people in Austin, all over the state, all over the world, who do produce short films because they've got an in-house editor, an in-house cinematographer, an in-house sound and color. That's a different type of producer. That's a production company. So knowing your different types of producers is important, but knowing people who know what they're doing is even more important. Yeah. So it was a long process. I've learned a lot. In theater, you work really, really hard for 2 or 3 months and you bust your rear getting that show up. And then once opening night happens, as a director or a producer, you sit back. I mean, a lot of directors go to the opening night and never go back. It's not how we roll in San Angelo. We stay the whole run. But you're done. And when it's over, you have a long strike and you have a party and you're done. Film, when you're done shooting, everybody goes home. And as the director, it's months, if not year or years of post-production, because it's very expensive post-production. So if you didn't raise, like we raised $20,000 to shoot the film, but I needed another $12,000 for post-production. So all in all, we've spent $32,000 on a 13-minute film. And we raised every single penny. I mean, Kevin and I kicked in a little bit, but we certainly didn't fund the whole film. If you are hiring a bunch of people in a town like Austin, it's about $2,000 a minute, at least. But you can do it for much, much cheaper. You just have to have a group of people that are passionate about making a film together and have realistic goals. Like we had animation and we were on location in different areas. I brought in a cinematographer. He's in Austin. He went to UT, so he's from Austin, but he lived in LA, so we had to fly him in. I used a really, really good colorist who's very well known, Alice Abrams, who I can't ask her to do that for less than what she feels like she's worth, because she's proved herself in film festivals and winning awards and working for major brands, and she's very good. So I chose to pay a really good. Yeah. But you can do it with people that are starting out and wanting to experiment, or you can learn and edit, and so it can be done cheap. And now we're in the world of verticals, which verticals kind of in the acting world have a bad rap. Well, that's an opinion. It's like soap operas, and they're devoured like 1.5 minutes at a time, 60 episodes, and people have to pay, and they're making billions, not millions, billions of dollars on verticals. These are apps. So, but the idea is short content is being devoured, and it's coming. Verticals that aren't soap opera themed, they're very dramatic, they're very over the top. Lots of women slapping women, which I don't love. I don't like the content. It's like rich guys and rich women treating each other badly, and it's just it's content people love. It's not content I love. Right. But I do think verticals are coming for filmmakers that are doing interesting documentary style content, or maybe maybe a 25 episodic short over like what my film was. A woman transitioning from her home into a retirement community, sad about leaving her home, sad about the life changes. We could do a short, 1.5 minutes at a time that goes into another episode and another episode, another episode. So it's a different way of making content, but that's easy to do with a phone. My whole point with that, easy to do with a phone. Yeah. So you can make your own content. You absolutely can. Phones are made. We are getting smarter and smarter, so it's not going to cost you $2,000 a minute to go make a short film. I just happen to be in the Austin market with great producers, and I just wanted to challenge myself. I knew if I can do it, a theater gal from West Texas can move to Austin and within 3 years get an agent, work in feature films, work in commercial, work on TV, and shoot a film. Anybody could do it. It's just a matter of it's like tenacity and moxy. I love those words. And the grit, it's a lot of work, and it's really hard, but it's so fun, and it's learning and stumbling along the way. And just being able to ask people for help. So if in a San Angelo standpoint, I see as a challenge knowing that I did this in Austin. I had San Angelo people on this crew. My music composer, original score, is from San Angelo, Christopher Carter. He has a Emmy, I believe, for his work in music, and he lives in LA now. Oh. But Christopher was at Central High School with me and did theater. He was he was directing the orchestra when we did Once Upon a Mattress. Haven't talked to him in years, but we reconnected over Instagram, and I was like, hey, do you score short films? And he's like, I do. Like, he does big features and stuff, but this is like his passion projects for friends and stuff. He will work scoring. San Angelo connection. Savannah Logston is my animator, my woman in the film Nan. She has flashbacks and memories of her old house. Savannah Logston is animating. And then Delaney Ramsdale is a West Texas native, and she's a Nashville songwriter now. So Delaney wrote my end credits song. So me and 3 other San Angelo people are involved in this film. We shot in Austin, but it's hometown people that you've met along the way, and you're like, oh, who do I know from home, from West Texas, that could really help me tell this story? But if you're in San Angelo, if I did this in San Angelo, my challenges would be resources. It's like, I want a really good cinematographer. I want a really good sound person. I want all these people, and they're a dime a dozen in Austin. I interviewed three people for cinematography. I interviewed 3 people for sound and color and editing. It's an editor's medium. You can shoot 20 days of film, but whoever has that footage and puts the story together to make sense and tell the story in an emotional way. In my case, this was an emotional story. That's very important. You have to have a really good editor. So the resources are many here. It's probably a lot less than San Angelo. The good news is people can edit from home, from their bay in, they've got an editing bay. They can be in New York, and you can have it in your email the next morning with a link. So you can get a lot of your resources out of town. But your actors and your cinematographer, your people doing sound and lighting, they all have to be there. So it's a little tougher, I would think, than it would be here. Yeah, my editor's from Austin, which has been convenient because it's nice to go sit with your editor, and he has a beautiful, huge TV, and he just scrolls through. And I'm like, wait, that needs to linger longer. That thought in her head, I'm loving what she's thinking. Can you just leave that there for another 3 seconds? So as a director, that's something I learned, that because it's an editor's medium, when you're directing film, you let those moments linger before you call cut.
That's right.
Because it's giving the editor, same at the start of it, when you call action, it's giving the editor more to work with. And as a director, those moments, those thoughts, it's not the talking. Write less. Show, don't tell in film. And I think beginning filmmakers often miss that.
Right.
You go to film festivals and you see people just, we don't talk that much in real life. I mean, I'm talking a lot now, but.
It's an interview, it's okay. Did you shoot a lot of reactions? That's what you made me think about, is reactions.
Reaction shots are so key, and I missed a few. I missed a few coverage of other people reacting to what an actor said. And so in the edit, one of my actors was from Atlanta and went back to Atlanta. So in the edit, I'm sitting there and I'm like, wish I had Jordan reacting to what, Joan just said. I'm like, do we have anything? No, we didn't get it. So that's part of the prep beforehand, is you do a shot list. I didn't know what a shot list was. I worked with my cinematographer. He was really sweet to get on a Zoom with me and work through a shot list, but he's not in my head. He's doesn't understand my story fully. He's read it a few times, but now that I've shot one film, I think I would be exponentially better at the second. So your first film, and my son's a screenwriter, he will say this, just like your first draft of a script is terrible. It's terrible. It's awful. You write it again, it gets a little better. Give it to friends, give it to other, it gets better and better. Just like that, I feel like your first film, it's not necessarily going to be terrible. It's going to be great. I'm going to be like over the moon proud of this film. It's not going to be my best work. I'm going to do it again.
Sure.
And I'm going to get better at it. I'm going to get better. I'm going to get more coverage. I'm going to get those angles. I'm going to get, but we did get a lot of coverage, and I knew from theater directing, leave it, don't call cut. And I wouldn't call cut, because my actors would be, you can see thought. You're so close that if you've got good actors that know how to think and not show they're actually feeling something, ooh, money. I mean, it's just gold. I met my lead in acting class, and she had so much of my grandmother's essence. She's way younger than my grandmother, by like 30, 40 years. She had so much of my grandmother's essence, I could not stop. like making that comparison every time she got up to work. And I was like, my story is about my grandmother. So I said, Joan, if I write my short, will you be my lead? And she was like, yeah.
Where do all the memories go? She doesn't want to do this, Mom. When the light fades and the sun sinks low.
You know, at some point, you're going to have to start thinking about what comes next.
Okay, well, it's called sacrifice, Shelley. You know, I learned it from you. Where do home
I just don't think I'm ready yet.
And I wrote it because of her, because I had someone, I was inspired. So that was an easy cast, but I had 3 other people to cast. And those 3 other people had 500 submissions. That's another difference with San Angelo. In San Angelo, you're going to have your theater people come out for your film auditions, probably. You might. Now, I've seen San Angelo, people are making films and putting it up on Backstage. They probably have actors outside of San Angelo submitting for that work, which is great to get other actors interested in coming to San Angelo, because then they're going to go back and say, that landscape in San Angelo is really cool. They had some cool locations. Hey, I know a filmmaker that's wanting to make a Western or wanting to make something about football, Friday night football, whatever. San Angelo is great, you guys. We need to go check that out so it's good. You shouldn't just be sticking with just San Angelo people by any means. Like, especially your actors, you can really find some great people from outside of San Angelo and bring them into film there, and they're going to be so excited about their experience. They're going to go back and tell all their filmmaker friends.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. We don't just do one film. Actors in Austin don't just do one short film and stop. Most of the time, we're addicted. We're like, when's my next one? So getting people to San Angelo is key. I think if San Angelo just stays San Angelo and you just all work with each other, it's not going to grow. We need people to know how great it is.
Yeah.
People need to see, everybody knows about Marfa. Everybody knows about what you can get out there in Marfa, but it's a long way. It's 8 hours from Austin. It's a long way. San Angelo's 3.5 hours. And Austin's kind of the mecca of Texas for film. Austin and Fort Worth because of Taylor Sheridan. But realistically, what real people can do that have normal money is coming from Austin.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and San Antonio is pretty big too. So both are 3.5 hours from San Angelo. So I really hope that filmmakers in San Angelo will put those castings up on, really, Actors Access is the one. That's where the serious actors are. We love Backstage too, but it's not vetted as good. It's not as there's not a background check like there is with Actors Access. So I encourage people, it's a pain. If you are a filmmaker, it is a pain to get your listing on Actors Access. It's a little archaic back there on the back end, but the support is coming out of LA is really great. They make you do an online training. You have to show your driver's license. They background check. They do everything before they throw your casting up. So as actors, we feel safe submitting. So that's if you can get a San Angelo film on Actors Access, you're going to have actors from all over Texas applying. I guarantee it. Actors like me, we're willing to work local hire, which means local hire means they'll come to San Angelo not on your dime. They'll come on their own dime, spend their own money to stay there because they want to work on camera. So get your listings up and say it's local hire. That doesn't mean they have to be local to San Angelo. It means local hire means I'll pay my way. People will do it. But pay your actors. Don't do it for free. Do not ever ask an actor to work for free, even if you pay them $50 for the day. It's just not cool that you're paying your whole crew, but for some reason, because actors are hungry, people take advantage of actors. So I pay the SAG ultra low budget, which is about $240 a day, or even $215 a day is good, $200 a day. But I understand new filmmakers don't have that kind of money, so pay someone $25 a day or $50 so they can pay me their gas for the week or whatever. Like, do something to show people that you respect their time. The only time I say you should do a freebie is student films.
Okay.
They don't have the budget. So I feel like student filmmakers that are at school, that are in college, young, high school even, work for free. Sure. Especially if you need footage for a reel. If you're an actor, you want to see yourself on film, work for free. But once you've established yourself, do not work for free. So yeah, I would love to see that happen in San Angelo. Get some people interested in coming out there to make big budget, because then it dumps money into San Angelo. You know, if Taylor Sheridan's like, this is pretty great, let's use this for the whole 8 episodes of Landman. I know they're in Midland, but just giving you an example, if he comes out to San Angelo and he sees downtown San Angelo and he's like, this is incredible. You've got an entire film crew staying there for, 2 or 3 months, and all the co-stars and extras are going to be coming from San Angelo and surrounding areas, big opportunities for actors. Hotels are full, restaurants are loaded. It's just good.
Yeah.
So, and we've got film incentives now. We've got money. It starts with us though. It starts with the creatives that are not known and have regular money. Like I said, it starts with us. Like I have an idea. That tenacity, Moxy, grit. Oh my gosh, the amount of no's and the amount. I don't remember what interviewer said this. I think it's Brene Brown. Somebody was talking about when you have an idea and you want to do something in the world of social media. We know we use social media to get the word out. We talk about it. We put it on social media. We say we're doing a thing. We do stories. There's an ick factor to that. The ick factor. Like, it's hard to put yourself out there and say you have an idea. It's hard to ask for help. It's hard to say, I can do this. I'm good at this. I'm talented at this. Trust me. Because somewhere, someone back there is not your cheerleader. Somewhere back there, someone doesn't love you and like you, and that's fine. Not everyone is going to like your idea. Not everyone's going to like you. Not everyone's going to like your film. And there's going to be naysayers and eye rollers, and that's their problem, not yours. And so you have to keep reminding yourself, that's not my problem. This is my creative baby, and not everybody's going to like it, and you have to be okay with that. And when you ask Aunt Joe for $100 for your film and she says no or doesn't respond to your email, it's okay. I mean, it's okay. People show up. I have gotten donations from people that I do not know, and I'm on Facebook looking them up to see if I know, like $1,000 here, $500 there. Who is this person looking on Facebook? They're not my friend, and they're just someone that saw my story and it touched them because they related to it, because their own grandmother or their own mother, blah, blah, blah. And so I connect via email to thank them, and it's like, why did you donate? Because I love film, because I love what you're doing. This is what I do with my extra money. I go find filmmakers doing cool things. And that happened to me several times. I would say probably $5,000 to $7,000 of this budget was given to me by people I didn't know.
Wow.
Maybe more, honestly. So you'd be surprised when it's like San Angelo. It reminds me of San Angelo Gives. Raising money for film reminds me of raising money for B Theater for San Angelo Gives. It's like sweating it out for 24 hours, but this is 30 days.
Yeah.
These Seed and Spark, Kickstarter. There's more. There's all kinds of platforms that support independent film.
What did you choose?
I used Seed and Spark because my producers knew the back end and helped me build it. And Seed and Spark is really good. Like they won't launch your fundraising campaign until they look through it, and then they give you like literally sentences that could be written better. They come through and they highlight on the back end that this is redundant or it's not written. It doesn't explain what you're doing well. So you go in and you can edit, and they don't launch it till it looks amazing.
Okay.
So that support's great. You don't get your money unless you raise 80% of it. So people know when they give that if you don't raise your money, you're not going to just be holding on to theirs. It goes back. It doesn't even get charged on their credit card until you hit 80%. On Seed and Spark, that little line goes, and when it turns green, little confetti goes, and everybody's cards get charged. But they get an email. Hey, guess what? Your donation to GoodWill is actually going to go through. That charge is happening in 24 hours, so they know it's coming. But if you don't make the money, you don't lose your funding.
Yeah.
You don't lose that $100. You don't see on GoFundMe. Once you put that money in on GoFundMe, it's gone. Yeah. Even if you don't know what people are doing with it. So Seed and Spark protects the givers. I did do my post-production on GoFundMe because I had proof that it happened and it filmed and it is happening, so people can give more confidently.
And that's probably a bigger, more well-known, just probably general.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more well-known. But it isn't geared toward filmmakers.
Oh.
So it didn't have all the bells and whistles that Seed and Spark has. Seed and Spark had the platform that looked really pretty and had the little thing. I don't know. It was just made for filmmakers.
Oh.
And we had to do incentives. Like, if you donate this much, you get this. And if you donate this much, you get this. So
Which one was that?
That's Seed and Spark.
Oh.
You have to do incentives. And so, like, for people that donated over $100, their names are on the credits.
Okay.
Right? Everybody that donated more than 100, and everybody that donated up to 50 got, recognized in a social media shout outs, like stuff like that. But if, like, for my big donors, they're personally invited to the screenings. They get a link to the film before anybody else sees it, that kind of thing. That's pretty cool. So the biggest difference between running a nonprofit 501c3 theater and then coming in and finding your own money for your film is the autonomy of filmmaking. As a filmmaker, I wasn't dealing with masses of people with an opinion, which can be very difficult in theater. I don't care if you're from a mostly, if I go into politics, mostly red, mostly blue, whatever. You're dealing with people with opinions on what you should be doing. And as a creative, I don't like people to tell me what to do, but I understand as a theater director, I have to speak to my audience. Who are my primary donors? What do people want to see in this town? But also make people think out of the box and be okay with people being different than them, but not cross lines to offend anyone. It's like, but then we like being a little offensive, because when you make people a little offended in the audience and you make them uncomfortable, but you still do a great show with a great message, even if it's ridiculous. Young Frankenstein offended some people. I mean, Mel Brooks, it's PG-13/R. We pushed some boundaries, not politically, just with the material. People uncomfortable, and why do you have to do stuff like, then they come see the show and they're like, oh, hilarious. And I'm not any worse off for it. In fact, I'm probably a little better now. Yeah. So I like the idea of doing a film my way. I say who, I say when, I say how. I don't care if it offends you. You don't have to watch it. I really don't care what you have to say about my film, because it's telling a story that's important to me. And if it doesn't speak to you, that's okay, because I know it's going to speak to someone else. So the autonomy of filmmaking is wonderful. And we listen to each other in a collective group, the producers and the writer and the director, super important. The cinematographer will have some ideas, but the masses, we don't care. Especially in a short film. I'm not here to make money off GoodWill. I'm here to move an audience. I'm here to tell a story. I'm here to say, this is what I can do in the directing world if you want to work with me. But it's not to bring ticket sales.
Right.
When you run a theater, you're like, we have a season. And it's interesting, because when we did a musical at B Theater and at ACT when I was there, the average expense for me when I was doing theater was around $25,000 to $35,000 for a big musical. That's what this film was. This film was between $32,000. That's the price of a musical. But the difference is, for that musical, we wanted to recoup that $35,000. Now, these were donations. These are people going, I know I'm never going to see this money again. Yeah. I'm not asking for it back. So go and do and create, and you feel free. It's so freeing.
Okay, fair enough on that, but isn't the end goal to start doing this for
money?
Revenue?
Yeah, and then you still have to stay, as a filmmaker, you still have to stay so true to yourself. And it's the same as an actor. You can't go into an audition as a film actor and say, what does the director want? Please like me. What do they want me to do? What should I do here? What is the director? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Because it's performative. It reads desperate. There's no thought. It's just doing. It's just text falling out of your mouth. Whereas if you go in and you learn and you do your homework on the script and you do the script analysis and you learn the character, you tell it the way you can, your essence. I can't take Elena out of a character. If the character's name is Jane, and Jane is, grew up in a car because her mom was single, I've never done that. but I can go and I can imagine it, and I can create my world, and I can be Elena as Jane. But this is getting technical. When you take yourself out of it, you become inauthentic.
Yeah.
Right? So where was I going with this?
Well, I think you were going to connect that with, so when you do start doing this for money, you don't lose yourself.
Oh yeah. Okay. So it's important as a filmmaker, you still have to keep your voice.
Yeah.
And it can be scary. I can't imagine. I mean, I can imagine. I'm not doing films for money right now, but I can imagine big filmmakers like a Greta Gerwig. She was taking risks early in her career and getting momentum every time she'd do a film. And she was talking about how many people would tell her things weren't going to work. And she's like, but this is me. This is how I make films. This is how I talk to my actors. This is what we do. Well, it's not going to work. And then it works. And it works. And it works because she's staying true to herself. So you can't I will never put myself in the category as Marvel, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm never going to make Marvel movies. I don't want to make, well, you never know. Someone may call after they say GoodWill. I'm a storyteller of emotional, everyday type of situations. I think that's where my money spot is. But I think people like Greta Gerwig, I say Greta Gerwig because she's so inspiring to me. I mean, that's when I think about who inspires me in filmmaking. I think about women filmmakers. And now that I've seen Hamnet, Chloe, I forgot her last name, the director of Hamnet, I've been reading about her process. Is it Chloe Zahn, I think. Very different process. Very different process than most filmmakers. Emotional, but there's a lot of dance and joy, and they'll call cut, and at the end of the film day, they're dancing, and they're putting their hands on their hearts, and they're all breathing collectively, which sounds woo-woo, wah-wah. But that, to me, that's like theater people. Like, oh, those are my people.
Yeah.
So learning from filmmakers how to stay true to themselves. I'm a theater girl at heart. There's a lot of theater that comes out in me when I'm directing, like the way I direct. So I got to hang on to that. I got to stay authentic and hope that people want to work with me. Yeah, I'm brand new. What if someone has a film and is like, oh, she's only done that one film and I don't know, let's see. And someone's like, no, I've worked with her. Let's give her a shot. I'm still going to be who I am. I'm not going to change because they need me to. I'm not your girl if there's things that I do for example, I'm an actor's director. I will start off any conversation if someone was going to hire me to direct their film. I would say, first of all, let me say, I'm an actor's director. I'm going to speak to the actors a lot. We're going to talk a lot about character, and we're going to connect before we even call action. We're going to go over in the corner. It's going to take 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, so the first AD needs to not be mad at me for taking 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, because every time is money. But I'm gonna direct to the actor. Whereas some directors are cinematic. It's the picture. We're gonna trust that the actors know what they're doing. We're gonna trust that they're ready to go when they get here. I'm not taking time to get them all set up. We're gonna film this thing. It's about how it looks. It's how I'm gonna spend a lot of time in my monitor. We're going to be looking, that's a different director. And it's the same thing with cinematographers. When I interviewed cinematographers, knowing that I'm an actor's director, I wanted a cinematographer who was fine sitting on his camera like this, waiting for me to talk to the actors and not feeling like he needed to move things along.
Right.
Like, you need to know I lean in with the actors often. and you may take 2 or 3 takes, and I'm like, not getting what I want, I'm going to interrupt your takes, and I'm going to go talk to the actor.
Yeah.
And he was like, I interviewed 3 people, and 2 of them seemed okay with it, and one of them he didn't just seem to jive with me on that. So that's okay, because this guy puts out incredible films, but this story needed me to be in my actors' faces, really. So that wasn't a fit for this film, but I would hire him on another film in a New York minute, but this film wasn't his film.
But like you said,
you just have to know what you need.
Yeah, but saying that helps you. There's all the trickle-down effect with the rest of the crew, right? Because like you just mentioned, how you work with your DP, because like if you don't know a lot about shots and angles and coverage, you can kind of rely on them and lean.
Yes.
They have to know that. Right?
Yes, and that's another in the interview process. If you're a first-time filmmaker and you're talking to your person on camera, you need to be really open that you don't know what you're doing. Don't be like, I'm going to figure this out on YouTube and I'm going to act like I know what I'm doing. No, just be like, hey, listen, I'm making a film. I do not know what I'm doing, but I know it's going to be great, and I need you to be in the journey with me. Yeah. Like, please tell me, if there's a shot I'm missing, would you please tell me I'm missing a shot? Like, let me know. And on the other hand, don't boss me around. Let me kind of figure this out. I love my cinematographer, Zach Morrison. He would lean on his camera while I'm talking, and we would get coverage of this actor, flip the world, which takes, if you're an actor, you're waiting 98% of the time. You're only on camera for 2% of your day. So unless you're the big, series regular who's, action, all that. But for the most part, you're waiting around. But my cinematographer, Zach, would just stand there and he would get his shots, blah, 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 and then and I'd let me figure it out. And I'd be like looking in my monitor and asking, and then I'd turn around to Zach and I'd be like, am I missing anything? And he'd be like, you probably want to get some B-roll. But he didn't say anything until I figured out, until I tried to exhaust all my avenues on my own and look at my shot list and learn. That's the way he was a teacher. He kept his mouth shut and let me do my thing, didn't boss me around. But I would always look to him at the end and say, did we get what we needed? And he would say, this is what I feel like you might have missed. And I loved that about him. And like in a really emotional scene, we were on sticks on the tripod. And he's like, I really feel like I should probably be handheld here because the movement's going to really propel what you're trying to do. Are you cool with that? Like, absolutely. I would have never thought of that. Yeah. In edit, I would have been like, why is this so still? She's crying. Why is this so still? So he was brilliant like that.
Awesome.
His quietness was my teacher, if that makes sense.
But
me, I had to understand that I had to turn to him at the end of every shot and say, did we get what we needed? Because I didn't know. Going into my second film, I will have so much of a better clue that I am getting what I need and I know what I need, because in the edit, I found a lot of things creatively that Zach could never have known. Creatively, there are some things I wish I would have gotten. Yeah. Now I know. The 3 that I interviewed, all 3 would have been great. Like, even the person that I thought wasn't the one for this project is a phenomenally. So I didn't meet with anybody that I didn't think was just going to be an amazing gift to this film. I just landed on the right one. Just watching his work, you have to go and study everybody's work. When you interview people to work with, everybody's got, first of all, everybody has social media or should, and they have pages that you can go and watch short films, or you can email and say, hey, what short films have you worked on? What can I watch? And like when I picked my colorist, I went and watched several short films to figure out what vibe I wanted, because everybody's eyeballs and brains are different when it comes to color. So I found someone who fit my artistic vision, and I loved all her work. And so I interviewed people that fit, but I did my research beforehand. I didn't go in and like, oh, well, I'll watch your stuff after we get off this meeting and see if we're a fit. Don't waste their time.
Or your time.
I don't want to waste my time or your time. So you don't go in and start interviewing people that you haven't researched. You want to be able to say, hey, I saw your film. My editor, I saw this film he did that I thought was so brilliant at South by Southwest in 2024 called Raqqa. And I loved it so much that I left that film and was looking for the little piece of paper that I was like, so I could remember who edited. And I called him. I was like, I interviewed him and called him, and I was talked about that film, and he was just delighted that I knew that film. Makes people feel like you care about them when you go do your research before. So the homework before a film's intense. I didn't expect that as much. Like in theater, your homework's it's pretty much only in the story, and you're talking to your designers and it's all here. But in film, it's like the world of film is so beyond on YouTube, and it goes forever, and there's filmmakers all over the world, and it's not like you can travel all over the world watching theater unless you've got.
Yeah.
If you are wanting to get into film acting, it doesn't translate from theater to film easily. Most people bring jazz hands with them, including me. It took me forever in acting classes, and still to this day, I am very aware of my physical presence. And so studying and reading and researching about film acting is helpful, but unless you're doing it, your muscle's not learning how to do it. And 100%, I've taken a lot of acting classes over the past 30 years of my life. I consider myself to have a tool belt of Meisner, Uta Hagen, all the greats all around, and then just like directors, theater directors, film directors, whatever. It's all in there. But at the end of the day, if I handed you a tennis racket and a tennis ball and told you to go beat Roger Federer, you could not do it. Yeah. First of all, who could? So let's just bring it down to like high school players. If you were going to go play the number 1 seed at Central High School, you couldn't do it if you've never played tennis and never practiced. So we get you with a coach. You go every week. You play during the weekdays. You play on the weekends. You enter tournaments. You get better and better and better. And your body, your muscles understand coming over the ball. They understand the repetitive, the serve. You don't have to think, okay, now I'm going to throw the ball, then I'm going to go up, then you don't have to think about it. You just do it. It's the same. The acting muscle is not different. And I know that people think your imagination just is, right? It just is there. We all have one. We just have to tap in. True. You also have to work it, because the thought that you have when you're acting of caring and being concerned about what people think about you, being concerned about what the director wants, being concerned with remembering lines, thinking you're not good enough, thinking you're gonna screw it up, thinking about the entrance that you should have made, or you should have held this in this hand, all the things that are noise, you have to learn how to suppress and let the creativity and the creative mind be. And that takes practice. So how do you get the practice? Well, you can take classes and workshops, which I know there's not a lot. So if you go back to comparing what San Angelo has to offer versus what Austin has to offer and some of the disadvantages of being in a smaller city, acting lessons, acting programs, non-existent unless you're a child. So you have to probably get that in San Angelo. You're gonna have to get that in by reps. So repetition, being on camera. Well, there's not a ton of short films being made, so what do? So here's the free way to do it. You get a friend, you get a tripod for $20 or $30 on Amazon, you get a light for $20 or $30 on Amazon, unless there's a local San Angelo company that just happens to have tripods and lights. Amazon's your best bet. And you type up scenes from your favorite episodics. Let's say, for example, you love Landman. You type up a scene between Billy Bob Thornton and his lawyer, his attorney, and type it up 2 or 3 pages, and get a reader who stands. You're here, like here's the camera. The reader's just off camera, and you have a reader who reads the other lines, and you are the actor, and you frame yourself like a film, very, very, very close. It's not a lot of room to move around and move your face and move your hands. So you learn how to be still, and then you do scenes and watch them back and be a constructive critic of yourself, and not to say, oh, I suck, I'm bad. It's to go in and say, wow, I do move a lot. I don't talk like that, and as a human being, I do not look like that in person. Like, I don't move that much. And when you're empty in thought and you're just spitting out words, you will see it. You will see it. If you're watching yourself with a critic's eye, and not, oh, I hate seeing myself on camera, not that kind of critic's eye. And also watch your friends tapes, watch each other, get a coach, online coaching, like take a session from a casting director. They offer private coaching. Take a session from a coach. I mean, I coach online, I'll coach Zoom. make an effort to get online and find these wonderful resources that are not super expensive to go in and have an hour or two of private coaching, and then you know how to practice. You know how to get in practice. But if you can get on camera and watch yourself on camera, it does tell you a lot. But it's nice to have a coach. It really is kind of essential to either be working on camera a lot or having some kind of classes, which is, you can do classes online. And the Zoom classes are quite good. You can sit a lot of LA, Creative Acting Studio in LA is a good one because she allows students to pay a much, much smaller fee to sit and observe Zoom classes where casting directors that cast huge things that you've seen and heard and know go in and work with actors. Actors do a scene, like a read scene, and that casting director will give feedback, and you as an actor can learn from that. It's like $15 to sit and observe these Zooms. So you can't use that money as is, you don't have, I mean, you can afford $15 in a month to go sit. So there, you just have to find resources to get better. But I think getting a friend and working on scenes,
that would be fun.
Really fun, inexpensive. Then you've got a self-tape set up if you ever want to self-submit for auditions that are outside of San Angelo. All over Texas, there's short films being made. Get on Actors Access, build yourself an account, get on Backstage. I will say it's a pay-to-play world. So Actors Access, if you want to be able to submit yourself and kind of see the best auditions out there, you're going to have to pay, it's like $60 a year, maybe $120 a year. A little more expensive on Backstage, which is weird because I think Actors Access is the premium one. An agent is the way to really get the good stuff and really get the reps in and really start working and working that muscle is to get, and you're in San Angelo. You can get an agent. Self-tape world. COVID changed everything. Before COVID, most agents wouldn't even look at you if you're like, I live in West Texas, so because you had to be at all these commercial auditions all the time in person. Now, all commercial auditions in Texas, 99% of them are self-tape. LA is different. They're back on foot over there in LA. They're 50-50 probably. A little different in Texas. You can now work and make good money on commercials with an agent being in San Angelo because you can self-tape. And same with short films. Short films, you're not going to make good money. But you'll make some. I mean, a lot of people still asking people to work for free, even in Austin. But there are a lot of films that do low budget, like $200 a day, $150 a day, $100 a day, whatever, $50 a day. And you can come and you can get practice on camera and get footage for a demo reel. So you can do it. There's no excuses. Same goes with making films. No excuses. Like, I don't have the money. You can still either get friends that are interested in trial and error in the sound and edit, get cheap programs, sound edit, you can get lavs now, like Bluetooth, wireless, really good lavs for under $200 and you can work with those. Find filmmaker friends, find people that know how to use a camera, go do stuff, go make stuff, go do it if you have an idea. If you're a writer, get a cheap writing program online. I use Writer Duet. I forgot the most popular one. I can't remember the name of it, but there's lots. Final Draft is probably the most popular. You pay monthly, it's all online, and you can literally click screenplay and it formats it for you. It's amazing. So if you have an idea and you feel like you could write it before you go ask. Don't ask for money without a script. Find you some people that believe in you. But if you want to spend money and you want all the good stuff and you want to bring in creatives from other places or people in San Angelo that you need to pay, really, really people that know what they're doing, then make a budget and raise money like you'd raise money for a theatrical production. Raise money. There's lots of places to raise money online. So there's no good excuse for you not to do what's in your heart and what you want to do and tell stories and be an actor. You just have to do it. I mean, what do you want to do between now and dead? What do you want to do? You have one life between now and dead. And that sounds morbid, but it's true. What have you got to lose? So what if you make something and it's terrible? You learned, and the next thing you make is going to be even better. And I do want to show my book. Do want to show my book that's inspired me so much. I love this book, War of Art. Can you see it? Yep. Stephen Pressfield. It's an easy read. It's written in like sections like this where he's tackling the resistance, and resistance is the thing in your head that tells you that you're not enough. It tells you you're not good enough, or it tells you you're dumb or you don't know anything. That's resistance. It's an excuse. It's your brain making an excuse for you not to do it. So if it scares you, if you're like, oh, the thought of all this is scary, or I don't know what I'm doing, that's really frightening. What if I mess up? If that is your thought, the more something scares you, the more you want it. That's why auditions are so hard. It's hard to walk in and put yourself out there if you really, really want this role. You really, really want it bad. You've been waiting for this show. This is the role you want. It's terrifying because you want it so bad. That's a good sign. It's a measure of you wanting it. Yeah. So if you want it that bad, go do it. Don't fear it. And this book is very encouraging. War of Art. He will talk you through your inner creative battles. So, there's if it scares you, that's good. Go do it. I was terrified to make a film. Terrified.
How do you get over that? Because to me,
don't get over it. You recognize it and know that it's there because you want it bad. It's that fear is there because you want it so bad, and you're scared of failing. But you can nothing great in this world. No business, no building, no art, no relationship is ever without the fear of failure. I mean, when you go on a first date and you like that person, you're scared there might not be a second. You're scared to send the text or make the phone call. Everything from relationship to the greatest art in the world and the greatest building. Everything came with risk. Everything. So if you use risk as a reason to not do something and you're not doing it, that's on you. Like making stuff up in your brain that hasn't happened yet, things that could go wrong. Of course, we can do that all day long. I mean, it's a terrifying fact of having kids. We fear them getting sick. We fear them getting their driver's license because they're going to go and have a wreck. We fear them going off to college because we don't know what they're going to do on the weekends or where they're going to be or who they're going to be with. Or it's just fear, constant all the time. So you can live in fear, or you can be like, okay, I recognize this fear. It's because I love this person so much. My whole world is this human being. I am terrified something's going to happen to them. I can live like that, or I can be like, only good things are going to happen for my child by me letting them go out in the world.
Well, what's the alternative? You lock them in the dungeon in the basement? Like you
lock them in the basement, which is abusive. Yeah. And same thing with your dreams. What are you going to do? Yeah. Lock it up, and then on your deathbed, wish you had created more art? It's like, that's how I get through really scary auditions and things I really want. Like, even as an actor, I have an agent that sends me something that's from a film, like a SAG. Like, I had an audition for a film that has Shirley MacLaine in it that's shooting in New Mexico. And I wanted it so bad. Of course, I want to go to New Mexico and be on set with Shirley. Of course. And like, just getting myself in a self-tape, not even an in-person audition, I'm like having anxiety and like, I don't think I can do that. I don't think, but it's because I want it. That's good. So I get myself together and I realize the fear's good, and let's just tell a story, and here's what Elena has to offer. I'm either it or I'm not. So, and you submit that self-tape. But making a film's much different because it's more expensive and it takes longer and there's a lot to learn. But gosh, I've got something, and the thing about film that's different in theater, I'll say this too: if you make a film, it's out there forever. Yep. You did a thing, and you can go back and watch it, and on rainy days or sad days, you can go, look what I did. I did this. And like, this film is inspired by, it's not about my grandmother, it's inspired by my grandmother. So it's a piece of her. She passed away in 2022 and I made the film in 2024, finishing it in 2026, 18 months later. It's a piece of her now that's here forever. And when I'm gone, my kids have this thing I made and they can show their kids, and then their kids. This is going to be around forever. Look what my grandmother made, or look what my great-great-grandmother made this film. Like, so film's special that way. Theater, we can film it, sure. But it's not going to be as emotional if you were as it was if you were in the theater. That's when the emotion and the real and that's where you are inspired, is being in front of live stage. I mean, I just think stage is superior to everything, I think. Stage acting, like the theater, Broadway, the theater, even Civic Theater, Angelo Civic Theater, B Theater, Saba, whoever in San Angelo, that's the most magical thing I think there is as an actor or a creative. But filmmaking is from stage. That's where it came from. Like, first there was theater in the world. Then filmmaking came. Very recently, filmmaking.
Well, and I think the idea was to bring the theater to all those people that didn't actually go to the theater.
It was about, and silent film was theatrical and performative. We weren't coming out of performative film until maybe the 60s?
I was going to say
70s?
I thought that's what 60s. Star Wars did, is it got it. But that's what I've heard, one of the comments.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about, like, there's probably some great, like Sidney Poitier, you know, from the 60s. There was some really good film in the 60s. But before that, we were very performative. Think about Wizard of Oz, Gone with the Wind, even Sound of Music's a musical, but Gone with the Wind is a good example of very good filmmaking, amazing filmmaking, very performative. Right. Wasn't based in reality. Those performances were not based in reality.
Yeah. That's so weird because to me, it's a reminder of the studio system. When you were on contract.
Yeah, you were an actor for MGM.
Yeah, and that kind of, the performative aspect of it, that's kind of, it's almost like a soap opera.
Yeah.
And so you just go there and pump them out. It's like factory.
Well, and what's funny is those verticals I was talking about earlier, that's what they're doing. They're starting to hire these actors, like Real Short, REEL, Real Short app, that app. They are starting to contract these actors that are very popular, like these women that everybody loves, these women, these gorgeous, they're all gorgeous, like 28-year-old leads of all these films. They're contracting them like the old days.
Oh, wow.
Well, I will say about West Texas, thanks to Taylor Sheridan, cowboys, landscapes of Texas and oil people and Texas in general, cowboy boots, cowboy hats, all the things. Thanks to that, the West Texas landscape is highly desirable. So living in West Texas and doing any kind of film, making any kind of films out there right now is hot, hot, hot. People want to see it. People want to know about it. They're so fascinated. Billy Bob Thornton has made people just fascinated with West Texas people. Those zingers and one-liners, and there's so much to be told about the West. And it's not just Old West, it's New West. It's like West Texas people are colorful. And people do not, when I say San Angelo, Texas, people are like, where's that? I'm like, oh, they don't know about San Angelo. So how much time do I have to stand here and talk about how great? Like downtown, like I love me some Julie Raymond and Art in Uncommon Places. I'm like, you don't understand, there is art all over San Angelo and there's water. People think Abilene and Midland don't have a lot of water. I'm like, no, we're a little oasis. And so it's beautiful. People need to see more of San Angelo and understand that little nugget we have in the middle of Texas. I brag about it all the time. Why did I leave if I love it so much? I was just ready for a second chapter. Like for me, I wanted to do more. I've done theater for so long and my kids are grown. This is my empty nest period where I'm still vibrant. I'm healthy. I just want to do something else. I want to do more. And the resources are here. Lots of theaters. There's 80 theaters, 80 in Austin. So my thought was, I'm going to go to Austin where there's 80 theaters and do lots of theater and not run a company. Running a theater, a nonprofit, I became so entrenched I was so entrenched in the administrative duties. I got a little less artistic as the years went on. 11 years of doing that, and the joy just was kind of falling for me because I wasn't able to just go do a show.
Yeah.
I think all of us were feeling that way. By the end, we were all like, we need a turnover of new people to start doing this because we're all aging out of running it. So for me, it was like, I just want to go work. I want people to tell me where to be, give me a script, tell me what to do. So I did that for a few years until I finally was like, I need to create again. So here I am. And it's film, of all things. If you had told me 3 years ago I'd be a filmmaker, I would have told you were crazy. Coming off administration from theater, I would have been like, I don't want to create anything from ground up. I don't want to raise money. No. If it's in your heart and in your blood, it's in your heart and in your blood forever. So I will constantly be creating. I mean, I have a new business, Collective, that's coaching, taping for auditions. It's coaching people into the industry. If someone called me and said, I want to be an actor and I want to get an agent, that I would consult with them. So I'm excited to work. I am excited to work on the back end. I am excited to grow careers and help people get to do what I'm doing. And I would like to do another film. But I think first, before I make my own film again, I'd like to use GoodWill as a calling card to direct other people's stories.
Okay.
I've never done that. I've never read someone's screenplay and then had to do a storyboard and a shot list for someone else. And I really, really want to do that. I think that would be really, really cool to not be bogged down with the money raising and the finances and finding the cinema. Blah, blah, blah. I just want to show up with the script and having done the homework of a shot list and work with a writer and tell a story. That's my next thing.
Very cool.
She's trying to work with people who may not have work out there right now that are interested in firing back up. She doesn't want to talk to people with ideas. She wants to talk to people who have already done the story so they know what they need, and it would be kind of a recreation of a story that's already done.
Okay, that makes a little more sense. It just is a little easier.
Yeah, like you've seen it, you can reference it, you've seen it. Actors may or may not be available to do it. You may have to recast it, but I think it's just a way of getting people, because that's the thing about once your short film runs this festival circuit, unless Netflix picks it up, which they're not picking up many shorts these days. Prime does. Prime picks up some shorts. I have a friend whose horror crime, it got picked up at Tribeca. They got in the Tribeca Film Festival, and in Tribeca, when they screened it, Amazon was there and picked up
Oh, nice.
their short. So you can't, and paid for it. So all the actors and stuff got money from that. You can get picked up, but I'm not anticipating my short film to be picked up by Amazon Prime or anybody. But so after those things get shelved, it's kind of sad. They've lived their little life in the public. Right. So this woman, the way she worded her post and her ask, I don't remember her name. I just thought, oh, that's cool. She wants to help put life on these films that are dusty, because it is kind of sad.
That's good.
I mean, it's not sad. My film's going to be around forever, and that's cool. Like my kids and everybody's seeing it. But my mom is funny. My mom does not get it. She's like, I don't get a short film. I understand all that work and all that money and all that effort. And I'm like, that's like saying you don't understand a piece of art. That's cool. You don't have to understand it.
Has she seen it yet?
I made the mistake of showing her at Thanksgiving with no color correction, no music, no sound correction. She saw raw footage and she was like, "That's cute." I'm like, God, I should not have showed her this.
But now when you show her the finished piece, hopefully she'll be like, "Oh."
Kind of hurt my feelings. So I was like, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that." Because then she was all, "And what is this for?" I'm like, "Oh gosh, Mom."
I get that.
But self-tapes are the thing in Texas, and you can work and make quite... Haven't had lunch yet. I'm going to start there again. Then we get SAG commercials, because that's big money, and everybody's like in a frenzy. Did you get that SAG commercial? Did you get that SAG commercial? Did you get it? Did you get it? Did you get it? Like, yeah. And then you're auditioning, and you're like, do you think this is what they want? I mean, you're freaking out. My stomach's going crazy. Hang on. I'm going to give pause for that.
Hold for stomach.
Hold for my stomach. I mean, all through this interview. So I'll be interested to see if you can hear that.
Camera, I just always say,
that's the commercial actress in me. I'm like, commercial actress is like down the barrel of the camera. Okay. Sorry, starting is the hardest part.
Yeah.
Okay.